What time zone
Ooh.
is it? I don't even know. We're like
Yeah.
in, is it
Where
10
are we?
a.m. Pacific or 11?
Yeah. Let's say, yeah, sure.
It's
We set the
sometime
clocks
in
back
the,
for you. We just
yeah.
jumped the gun.
We're catching up this morning. I shouldn't even go into the fun angst of returning to fiat land and the transition and then being busy, busy, busy all week until like just kind of this morning and going, have I settled back into the States yet? Like barely. I
Yeah.
still have half my brains in El Salvador.
Yeah. Well, we missed last week's podcast. I think you went live from the country club, right?
I was going live at various times about a shorter videos, but like one or two a day, just to kind of have some content on there. And there was no real chance to sit down and like have a podcast. It was just stuff happening. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
the closest I got to sitting down to have people talking was like, I just went live in the golf club, uh, plaza area, and Max Kaiser, I tell you. So here's interesting story about the whole trip was I knew that Max Kaiser put on like shows or had his rants and maybe he was good for that for 10 minutes or an hour. He did that all damn day. And
Oh,
he
yeah.
would take little breaks, but when you think of his random like, his dancing and his pump thing and he'd work the crowd and he'd walk and he was stand-up comic quality funny man. Um, and yet based as hell on Bitcoin, as good as I could ask for. If you're going to have a spokesperson for Bitcoin, I can't complain about Max. Um, and then and he just kept doing that and kept doing that. And he'd take a break, get some water. Everywhere he goes, people are like following him and like Max, Max. And I was a fanboy first getting there and having not seen him in person, and then there he is, and it's like, holy crap, that's Max. And you want to say hi and you get your selfie and then you're on a little video with him or whatever. And then the day goes by and he's still around. The next day comes, he's still just hanging around. You're just hanging out with Max and Stacy and Jimmy Song and these cool people.
Yeah.
So then you kind of get used to that and you're like, they're just grounded people, really,
Yeah.
but they are purpose driven and superstars that you can just relate to as well. So it wasn't like I'm I'm on another level than you. It was just like he would joke with me and I would joke with him and he was like, I get it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great little trip. I don't know if we mentioned it. Hey, what's up, Johnny? Sorry we're late this morning.
We're
Dude.
late.
We're super late, man. Good grief.
Scrambling here.
Yeah. But yeah, that whole trip was a trip, really. I mean,
Oh boy.
but yeah, like seeing people like Lena Sesh and Jimmy Song, and it was nice chatting with Stacy a little bit. And I didn't really talk to Max too much on this trip, but I'm glad you got to interact with him a lot. It was nice, kind of like walking around and seeing MicroSeed sort of around the course and during the tournament. And the thing is, we included these little golf ball markers, like with every single like goodie bag that went out to the players, but like there's only like one player had one. I was like, what the hell, dude? Like, oh, is that in the bag? I'm like, yeah, like that was like, I don't think any of the players opened their bags prior to going out on the course. Like, I think they're all going to go home and go, oh, hey, look, there's a neat little ball marker in here. I didn't notice that, like, oh God,
Well, you get there, there's so many things going on. You're focused on golfing and maybe you're a little nervous about your performance, but you're getting ready. So you get a bag. Oh, there's some hats, there's some swag, there's some things, and the little marker kind of falls in the corner. But
yeah. Yeah, well, I'm actually glad not to go on and on about golf here. I'll try not to anyway. But we showed up, what, 4 days early? And so for the first 2 days, I went out on the course and played golf, right? So my golf partner showed up 3 days before the actual official tournament day. And so me and Fritz went out on day one, and I got my first look at the course. And I think I brought 18 balls on the course, and I ran out by hole 18. I was like, oh, I'm out of balls. Like, I just can't. Like, I had my last ball on hole 18. I teed it up, chunked it in the water, and went, all right, well, I guess I'm done.
I have never seen a course like that. I mean,
oh, dude.
yeah. if you know nothing about golf, it'd be like a giant sized miniature golf course where there's all these random little weird things, except no, we're talking like full size golf course. And yeah, you have to get it in that hole, or you have to go around the loop, and you have to not hit that rock, and
Yeah,
a random sand thing, and another random sand thing, and oh yeah, everything. But it's a miniature golf with hills everywhere, hills.
yeah,
So
and
seen
yeah,
some share of golf courses. Not that I'm a great golfer, but just as a golf pleb, just glancing at this course, I'm like, holy crap, this is
yeah, yeah. It's a legit deal. Like I think like our hole that we were sponsoring was like hole 5, right? And that hole you have to clear. I mean, it's not a bad shot. It's like 160 yards to the pin. It was the closest to the pin hole. The thing is, if you chunk it, you're in like it's just ball gone, right? Like your ball disappears. It's in the jungle somewhere. If you slice it, your ball is gone. It's just in the jungle somewhere. And if you hook it, your ball is just gone and in the jungle somewhere, right? So there's like literally like either you hit it on the green or you're boned, right? Like you end up like 20 feet below the green in some ditch. It's just like it was a crazy. And then the very next hole after that is a legit 220-yard carry to safety, which, as Fritz was watching, I chunked 6 balls into that ditch. 6, because it's like just the psychology of it. It was just like, oh, couldn't hit that, couldn't hit that, couldn't hit that. I was like, oh my God, dude, what am I going to do here? And the rules they set up for that particular hole, which I thought were like actually kind of cruel in a way. This was a scramble where you played the best ball, except on a couple of holes where they said you have to play your own ball. And that hole with a 220-yard carry over a canyon was one of those holes. And the fairway was elevated from the tee box. So it's like you had to hit uphill 220 yards just to get to safety. So I was like, why did you do this? And so like it was funny because when my golf partner showed up and we had a practice round, we ended up there was a word he actually coined the term the issue, because like I was just crushing tee shots. I was doing great. Every single ditch was just like, nope, just gonna top it and knock it in the ditch. And he's like, dude, it's only the ditch. Like you hit the ball fine everywhere except in front of the ditch. I know. I'm like,
yeah,
I know. It's like it's psychological. It's not nothing wrong with my swing. It's just something wrong with my brain.
yeah.
But thank God on the day, the actual tournament day, I cleared all those ditches. I think I chunked it into one ditch, but my partner chunked into ditches too. Like everybody, our playing partners that we were assigned, they chunked balls into the ditch. Like it's just, that's part of golf, right? But I cleared all the ditches when it mattered, and I was like, thank God for that, because I just didn't like. I don't mind looking like an asshole in the middle of the course where you slice something, you go, oops, oh, that was a bad shot, and you chunk it in the woods or whatever, you bloop one in the water. It happens. It's golf. But I didn't want like on the tournament day, like every single shot that was trying to clear a ditch was in the ditch, So I was just grateful I got over all the ditches. But
It was a competitive, hard course. Like if you were an average player, but also highly competitive, you'd probably be like breaking your club over your knee or something because you just feel like, because you weren't familiar with the course, and
yeah,
or it's like, okay, I can make that distance, but the tolerance for error is so narrow. The safer way is to pitch it there and then pitch it there and then pitch it there, and you're going to be 1 over par every time,
right.
but you're not going to like lose balls every time.
Yeah.
And then friends of friends, apparently it's like the competitive ones that have the connections brought in their ringers. Like, so the top players from El Salvador and the top players from Mexico came in to basically take first and second.
Yeah. But it was a dude from Unchained. Like it was a legit like amateur golfer that works for Unchained, took 3rd place. Like that was
the Unchained guy.
Yeah, so I was pretty stoked to see that. At least there was proper Bitcoiners in the winner circle. They might have taken the bronze, but against professional golfers, it's like, well, what do you expect? And professional golfers that know the course really well. So it's like, but yeah, we were actually playing behind the Salvadorans, man, and those guys were just like, you watch them play golf and it's just like, oh, okay. So that's what real golf looks like, huh? interesting. That's not what my golf looks like, you know. But you know what sucked, dude? 3 out of 4 days, I hit the green on the hole-in-one hole. 3 out of 4 days, like every single time, bloop, right on the green. Great shot, great shot. On the day, bloop, right in the water.
Oh no.
And it was in front of Pamela too, man. Like she was up there doing interviews and talking to
Yeah.
people, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was feeling confident, and then just chunked it in the water, and I was like, "Why? Why?"
That makes a good clip for the reel where it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
hate
yeah,
to be him.
yeah. Well, dude, I think a lot of people did. I mean, like my partner chunked his in the water, the other team chunked one in the water, and then the guy who's like a scratch golfer, I think he hit the green. But yeah, it was. Oh, that's a great question, Johnny. Like it's surprisingly not as monolithic as the Bitcoiners would have you believe, you know. Like there's a narrative about everybody loves Bitcoin, everybody's this, and they all love all the attention the country's getting because of Bitcoin, and you know, the country's getting better partly because of Bitcoin and yada yada yada. When you talk to the locals, that's not the narrative you're gonna hear back at all, you know.
Yeah, well, so like El Zonte and a lot of those coastal towns where a lot of expats are going and all that, pretty well much into it where like, oh yeah, we I mean, not that there I was encouraged to pay in Bitcoin, but it was like blanketly, oh, we'll take whatever, we'll take dollars, we'll take Bitcoin. It was all kind of fine.
Right.
Um, if I was tipping or whatever, it's like they were very appreciative of that tangible, just sort of like I've got a few
Cash money.
bucks, and for it was like, oh, that's like they liked that. Um, some of the little things like tipping in Bitcoin, all that. I think for some of them it was still just a little esoteric for them, but they understood it to a point. San Salvador and other places, I heard that it was like, yeah, um, it it can work, but they're not like all into it. It's
Right.
still a transition. So
Oh yeah, big time. Like even when we were checking out, I was trying to pay our transportation costs in Bitcoin and they couldn't do it. Like they accept it, but the gal had to like call someone to give a link to make it, and then the person didn't pick up the phone and she couldn't get the link. And I was like, let me just pay it with a card. And she's like, oh, thank you. So, you know, like let's see, I bought cookies with Bitcoin. And that's it. Like that's the only thing I used Bitcoin on. Like, there's some cute little girl that was out there selling cookies. Like
Fiona.
yeah, Fiona, there you go. I feel like every Bitcoin conference there's some cute little kid selling cookies. Like I thought it was like when I saw this girl, I was like, "Oh, you were at Vegas, right?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" Like weren't you in
Yeah.
Vegas selling cookies? She's like, "No." And I'm like, "There was some kid that was selling cookies in I don't know, you know." But I feel like there's always like a little booth of somebody selling cookies somewhere, you know. And I guess like why wouldn't you? But that was the only time I could pay with Bitcoin where it was easy, where she pulled up a lightning link, I clicked the little thing, hit the QR code, sent her the $10 or whatever. Really good cookies. So
Yeah.
Fiona, I know you're not watching, but great cookies. Good job. Um, and her dad seemed pretty cool and kind of Bitcoin guy, and you know,
Mhm.
so, I mean, it was sort of fun or whatever. But I didn't, you know, like I went to the bars, like, you guys take Bitcoin? Nope. Like, okay. How about you guys? How about you guys? Like the Bean and Fire guys that had a coffee stand set up, they would take Bitcoin, but I didn't buy any coffee from them. So I don't know. What was your
Yeah.
experience, Fritz?
At the golf course and at the hotel, and I don't know, a couple of random places that were just in that beachfront El Zonte area, and at the golf club or a golf course, obviously. It was all just set up. Like, so where it was set up and they liked it and it was part of the culture, they were like, oh yeah, yeah, no, this is the cool way to do it. One of our driver, but elsewhere it was real either random hit and miss. They were just like out of ease, tourism ease. It was like cards, credit card, whatever that is, however that works.
Cash.
It was just,
Cash. They
they weren't
love
always set
cash.
up completely for Bitcoin. One of our drivers I think we were maybe together with him. We were talking a couple of different times we were riding, and I think I mentioned Bitcoin, and at least one of that younger guy that was drove us on that side route, which is interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Kevin.
think he mentioned specifically, it's like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. It's volatile, you know. For him, he still saw Bitcoin not as a standard, but as a adjacent money that was volatile. And so, like, if you're holding it and that fiat price has gone down, that was kind of not attractive.
Right.
That was my impression.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, we're on like a Bitcoin standard. No,
No.
no.
Well, I mean, they're so much closer to the survival threshold, right? Like the minimum wage in El Salvador is $408 a month. And if you
Right.
think about that, like that's $100 a week, right? So, and I think the locals do okay on $408 a month, but they're, it's not like, it's. I actually think they're probably doing better on minimum wage than people in the United States are doing on a minimum wage. If I'm honest, just because of the quality of life in general is pretty good overall. Like you might live
Yeah.
in a shack somewhere, but most people live in decent apartments. Like so you can get like in San Salvador, you can get like a proper apartment that would be like the equivalent of sort of like midtown Los Angeles, like not great, but not like you're not in the ghetto kind of thing. And those are $200 or $300 a month, right? And basic amenities, you got running water, you got a kitchen, you got a stove, you got like it just like if you walked into that, like if I just showed you a picture of an apartment in San Salvador, you go like, yeah, that's just kind of like kind of normal studio apartment, right? So, but that's what that's half your salary goes to that, right? So if you're on the minimum wage, but so if you're like that close to the survival threshold and then your net worth plummets by 50%, like that's like a big pain point, right? Like you go, hey, I've saved up $1,000, 2 months salary, and then Bitcoin dropped 20%. So now I've only got 1.5 months salary. Like that's not, yeah, exactly. It's like everywhere. Most people are struggling to kind of get by.
Yeah.
Everybody except for the caddies, I would point out. Like our caddy made from us on the first day $80 because all four players gave him $20. And he was hustling, he was running around, but he does that 5-6 days a week, and he'll sometimes play 2 rounds a day. So he's pulling in, 160 plus his salary per day.
Mm-hmm.
5 days a week. Like that kid's kind of crushing it, like I kept asking him, like, do you want some water? Are you okay? And he's like, oh, I do this every day. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. But the last time we played, he went out again the next day. Each player, 4 more players, giving that kid $20 or so. At the bare minimum, he's making $40 per round. On the upwards, he's making 80. And if he gets like that rich rando that comes along and just drops a C note in his lap, like, which I think is very common, like that kid's probably pulling 4 or 5 grand a month. So he's doing great. Like he was crushing it. I'm like, the best job in El Salvador is caddy, like golf caddy, like shagging balls and running around and, but you're outdoors and having fun and shit like that. So, well, there you go.
There's some real estate. There's not a price on that one, but yeah, so what I saw was sort of like when you go to Mexico, where inside certain areas where there's a lot of tourism and things happen, and it was like of a standard that was very nice and quite adjust. You could adjust to it very easily, nicely well, even as things were different and stuff. And then outside of some of that zone, I don't want to say the word. I don't want to say impoverished because I don't know that they were necessarily struggling, but they were working. The people that I encountered and that I met and that I saw, hardworking. I guess I'd presume, but my impression was very, very ethical, very kind, very humble, very, very, very nice, very nice, humble, good people, and just understood that it took work to live, and people were working. Like you didn't see people laying around like they just didn't know what they were doing. They were walking to or from work. They were at a stand, working a fruit stand. The kids were participating, or they were waiting for the bus, or people were just like doing stuff.
Right.
And so it was busy in that way. And that said, I can't say that they weren't making like a couple bucks an hour,
Right.
which was probably average, normal for them.
Yeah. Guess
So
how many
they know
homeless
it
people I
means.
saw?
What's that?
Guess how many homeless people I saw?
Oh yeah, right. I didn't see any of that.
None.
I mean,
I didn't even see a beggar,
no, you didn't see like, I mean, everywhere I go in America, even like, nice parts of town, whatever parts of town, it's just like, oh, well, there's some guy that has shortened his life as he's a walking dead I
Yeah.
guess. I
Yeah.
didn't see any of that.
None.
Um,
Very
so
low drug rate usage. Yeah, 100%. Like I'm actually, there are massive incentives to move companies down there.
yeah,
Like you can be 15 years tax free, and they have free trade zones. And we're actually talking about potentially moving MicroSeed to El Salvador. Um, I think the interim step's probably going to be Texas, but from Texas we might branch down to Salvador. Like Fritz actually is in the national newspaper talking about potentially moving MicroSeed to El
let
Salvador.
me see if I can find that. I
Yeah, you
wasn't,
should pull that up.
but
But
yeah,
you got the link on just send that link to your email, dude, and then you can put it up
yeah,
here.
yeah,
I don't know. Can I share a screen? Like I
yeah.
can.
Well, yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll get that link. But Fritz, part of the problem with understanding how well Bitcoin is integrating down there is the language barrier, right? Because my Spanish isn't great, um, but it's passable for like getting around, but I talk like a 5-year-old, So I'm aware of that, and the conversation, like if it gets beyond like where's the restaurant, where's the bathroom, this road looks nice, this is a good car, is that a fruit stand? Like if I get beyond that level of conversation, it gets very like I get like, huh, what? Um,
yeah, right.
but yeah, so here's the link here. Let me just share that. So it's hard to say from the perspective of the locals. We met one of our drivers was a guy that worked a call center for Cricket, like the U.S. wireless company, and he actually spoke pretty good English. And with him, we were able to kind of converse a little bit more and kind of have a better idea of what. Oh, there it is. Oh, you got it. Okay, cool. So there's Fritz telling the national newspaper. Wasn't even sure if this was a big paper or not. I didn't know what this was all about. Can you scroll up? Yeah. So
Diarrhea El
Diario
Salvador.
El
I
Salvador.
did not get diarrhea while I was down there. I was careful about drinking the water and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Me neither, knockwood. But we were talking to the waitress at the hotel. I was like, "Do you know this publication?" She's like, "Oh my god, are you kidding? Like, that's the national newspaper, dude. Like, everybody knows that paper, right?" So they are definitely in a positive transition. There's a lot of development going on. The entire area around Del Zonte was very much like they had a brand new shopping center, which for the locals, and that's the thing. There's a tension with the locals, like the gal that was at the hotel was like, yeah, well, who's really benefiting from this? Like, the
Yeah.
multinationals are benefiting. I don't see locals getting, rich from any of this stuff. But I think that's a narrow view. But like, as we drove past like Wendy's or Pizza Hut or whatever, it's like, you go, do you like those places? And people would like, yeah, oh yeah, I love this. It's amazing. It's great. It's, having a shopping center right there, having a gas station right next to where you live. Like all these things were very, very, very like um, beneficial, I think, for the locals in terms of being able to get groceries and supplies and things like that. The thing is if you're a country in transition, and especially if you just came out of like a de facto civil war with the gangs, and then you had another civil war, like a proper actual war going on just a few years prior to that, and all the meddling with the U.S. and everything in the internal affairs of El Salvador, like it. To would you mute that for a sec? It's
Oh, is it loud? I
yeah,
can't
I can
even
hear.
tell.
Yeah.
Hold on. Sorry.
No, that's all right. But when you're in a country in transition like that, it can be very problematic to come back out of it, right? And the fact that they were able to kind of go in and round up most of the gangs and get them kind of squirreled away, and then start fostering like economic development in the country, I think is a pretty remarkable step.
Mm-hmm.
So they're definitely like a country on the upswing. It's just you always have to be leery of like that region in general, and just from history, right? If you go, hey, when you install a strongman who kind of runs the entire country, like how well does that work out? You go, like history's
Yeah.
not kind to that story. We can hope that Bukele remains benevolent and remains focused on the external goals rather than internal personal goals. But it gets tricky with power and with having that much power. it is a small country. There's only 6 million people there, so it's more like the guy's like the mayor of a big city in LA or in the USA, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than like he's the head of a country of 80 million people, 100 million people, something like that. So it's a little different, but there are definitely very clear green shoots of development and growth and progress towards modernization and new roads and new schools and new buildings. And it's just how well that trickles out to the population writ large is kind of like a question yet to be answered. But at least from being there for a week, I kind of go, yeah, like generally speaking, it feels like it's on the upswing.
Yeah, definitely a lot of growth in construction and hope from the people. Like, so safety wise, sort of like in Mexico, where there were aspects to it. If you're in Mexico and you're not used to seeing like um, not just armed guards around, but like fully fully decked up automatic rifles and shotguns and stuff around, like in on the golf course and up in a crow's nest and various random street corners. They were just around a lot. And an American could feel affronted, like, oh my gosh, why is there all this scary security around? And locals were like, the number one thing they all really liked about all these things, even if they weren't all in on Bukele, like, oh, it's good and it's okay. And it's, there's some things that aren't as great. But it was like, well, what about the security? Oh, yeah, yeah, security. Security is good. Like the security. We like the security. All the police all around. It's not like, oh, all these cops are around all the time. It's like, thank you, cops,
Right. Yeah.
because they know what it means to have a society having broken. And
Yeah.
so they liked it. And I didn't care myself. I mean, I'm familiar with what it takes to keep the foundation from cracking apart, but they need it and they want it. And none of them are, I didn't see any like issues at all. No, and nobody did a thing. So basically, and culturally, I saw a respect for law enforcement, a respect for their government, a love for their country, a united sort of feeling of like proud to be an El Salvadoran, and a general love for Bukele, and a not a strong arm necessity to respect police, but a genuine kind of respect for police and authority. Compared to, you get back to America and you see people like, yeah, all this problem, nobody tells me what to do. I'm entitled. I'm going to complain. I'm just going to
Right.
wait. It was like, oh my God, we are babies.
Yeah.
Wah, wah, wah. And
Yeah.
in Salvador, it was like, you want to live? Well, saddle up.
Yeah.
You want security? Well, have security.
Yeah.
You got crime and problems? Fucking get rid of that shit.
Right. Yeah. To answer your question, Johnny, 100%. Like I
Yeah.
never even had a vibe. Like there was like I would see young tourist women or expats running at night by themselves without a care in the world. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and these are in rural areas, typically speaking, like El Zonte, the playas were they're not like on the main drag, right? And there's a lot of tourists around, a lot of like, hikers and backpackers and shit like that, and surfers mostly. But there was never a time when I was like, ooh, I don't know about this. Like I never got my spidey sense, like
Yeah.
I walk around Los Angeles, my spidey sense goes off. I walk around
Oh yeah.
Portland, my spidey sense is going off. I walk around Mexico, my spidey sense is going off. My spidey sense triggers all the time around here. But down there, just not even a hint. It was just like, huh. And I'm the type of person to have a heightened spidey sense. Like I'm always on the lookout for shit. I'm always conditioned yellow. I'm just sort of patterned that way.
Yeah.
And I felt very, very, very comfortable in El Salvador. So, like writ large, like I would live there 100%. My Spanish would have to improve pretty dramatically to make it worth, to make it so I could integrate better. But there are expat enclaves where you can go down, you can have a very American lifestyle. There's expat enclaves where the entire neighborhood is going to speak English, and there's going to be very modern stores and modern shopping centers and modern everything right down to your conveniences. Like your apartment's going to look just like an apartment you could get in San Francisco or Los Angeles or Chicago or anywhere else in the United States, with mini splits and air conditioning and heating and all of it's just like you wouldn't know that you were in a foreign country, aside from the fact that the signs are in a different language, right? Uh but outside of
Driving.
that, it's it you absolutely know if you're driving around through the countryside or outside of the city. You kind of look. I mean, there's like
If
structures
you're
there.
driving, that's like it's that south of the border style of like, whoa, they didn't go to the drivers that I went to, and
Right.
whatever's enforced. Like, so all this police around, but they're not pulling people over for weaving in their lane or passing in a double line, or I mean, people just kind of drive and flow, and there's kind of a personal responsibility about it all. I was joking. I was just imagining like state patrol around here trying to regulate road traffic down there. They'd lose their damn minds because they're such control freaks. Down there, the federales or whatever, they're there for a different reason. It's not
Right.
like you didn't use your blinker.
Right.
It's more like, is there anyone actually causing trouble?
Yeah.
And then, oh, there's a guy speeding. It's just like, well, if he wrecks, he, deals with that. But
Well, if you want like a modern, it depends on what zone you're in. Like a modern Western 1 to 2 bedroom apartment in San Salvador, if you live in a local area, right, like not an expat zone, it's about 700, $800 a month. If you live in an expat zone, it's about 1,200 bucks a month, right? That's the only difference. But you can get very modern conditions. I mean, you can get like a studio or 1 bedroom for 400 or 500 bucks a month, but you're not going to be living around people that speak English. You're going to be living amongst a Spanish speaking population in a Spanish speaking neighborhood with Spanish speaking neighbors and Spanish stores, Spanish speaking stores, and everything is going to be in Spanish. And it's not going to be like friendly touristy, like you walk in and go, "Hey, speak English." And they go, "Yeah, a little, I got you what you need. You want some chips?" Like it's just going to be like, nope, So you'd better have your Spanish down, right? At least to a point where you can comprehend basic transactional conversations. So it very much depends on where you want to be and how you want to do it. The expat zones are obviously more expensive, but you get a lot more amenities. Like it's literally just transplanting like American everything right into the middle of El Salvador. And it's if you were of a mind to move to this country and you were an American and you didn't want any impingement on your lifestyle whatsoever, you go to an expat zone and you'd be like, oh, yeah, I just moved to like another town, that just happens to speak a lot of Spanish. So it would be pretty seamless if you didn't mind spending a little extra money. But if you wanted to just kind of do it right and, kind of integrate with the local population and become more local, learn how to speak Spanish and you'll save, the cost of living is 50, 60% less down there than it is up here. But there's also the concomitant, like, well, you're not going to get your favorite brand of ho-hos at the grocery store. And you're going to have to prepare more food than normal. And it's not just like bip down to McDonald's anytime you want. And, the convenience factor is going to be lower. I don't think you can just like Amazon shit like whenever you want. Like, I don't think it's going to be like, oh, I need some toothpaste.
Amazon Prime is not a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can get it. Like, I think they have facilities down there. I think you can get shit sent to you, but it's not going to be like same day. If you order in the next 2 hours and 12 minutes, you can get this tomorrow. It's like, well, just if you order this, we'll probably get it to you sometime.
In a week.
Yeah. So, yeah, the food prices are super low. Gas prices are not, surprisingly.
I had to do the math because it was like metric, right? And I don't know. I was looking at them and I was like, I'm not sure how that translates on the gas price.
No, those were per gallon. Those are
that was gallon.
Those are gallon prices.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, because that was what Vic, my golf partner, was saying. He was from the UK and he came in and he was like, wow, $3, that's pretty good. I was like, that's per gallon. He's like, that's per gallon? Oh, I thought that was per liter. I'm like, no. That's like 4 liters, for $3 or whatever. But gas prices around $3, $3.50 along the playas. I didn't really see too much of the gas prices in the city. It was about $3 a gallon. So kind of US equivalent, depending on where you are. Like, if you're in LA or something, they're $4 or $5 a gallon. If you're in Missouri, it's like $2.50 a gallon, right? So somewhere in that range, but kind of a lot higher than I expected, because it is a car culture down there for sure. And it seemed like it was kind of pricey, to fill up a tank. But yeah, food prices, if you buy local and you're buying local groceries and you're buying locally produced stuff and you're not trying to get, like American brand Kraft macaroni and cheese or something, groceries are dead cheap, like super, super, super cheap. probably less than half of US prices easily. If
Yeah.
if you want to get like Starbucks branded coffee beans and, like the shit you get off an American shelf, it's going to be probably more expensive than America.
Yeah, like eating out, and no problem with the questions. It's kind of
Yeah.
like we've been thinking about this a lot lately and
Yeah.
talking about this ourselves. Like eating out randomly. So eating out at like a resort or at a nice restaurant, and I might naturally expect to pay 30 to $50 for something for a meal. And down there it was like, oh, that's $15 or $20. And then I'm gonna tip them nice, and it was half that. It was half. So
Hey, what's up? Bring facts, man. How's it
bring
going,
facts OG in the house. Hey, bring facts. You got to check this out. What I got here.
dude?
These were the glasses he was handing out, and he wore down there all the time. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Super
our
cool
homie
guy.
was down there hanging all
He's a
day.
burpee brother. We did burpees together.
Burpees.
Good man. Yeah. I think Fritz got that on camera somewhere, but
Yeah,
yeah.
it's on video. Yeah, I streamed it on X, I think, or
Oh,
something.
did you? Yeah, my gut hanging out while I'm doing burpees, but
Bring Facts said he's wants to incorporate burpees into his some of his calisthenics. So
burpees are
because
the
it
way,
is that
man.
it is that full body thing when you got to get up and get down,
Yeah.
moving your legs a lot too. So
Well,
yeah,
the origin of the burpee movement was a guy named Royal Burpee. That was literally his
his
name.
name was Burpee.
His name was literally Royal Burpee. Like I kind of want to change my name to Royal. But like it's just a cool name to have, right? But he invented the 4 count burpee movement, which is you just get down into a plank and then jump back up as a heart test. And then this was back before the days where you could do like a cardiac stress test or something like that on a treadmill or whatever. But he would just measure your resting heart rate, and then he'd have you get down and do like 10 burpees or something like that, and then get up and measure your heart rate again, and then see how long it took for the heart rate to come back down. And it proved to be a remarkably durable cardiac stress test because of the elevation change, right? Like if you hop on a treadmill or something like that and you do a modern cardiac stress test, it tests cardiac function very well. But the ability to pump blood volume like while your body is moving up and down is a very different thing, apparently. And so one of the things that makes burpees so dreadful and everyone hates them so much is the fact that you stand up and then you lay down and then you stand up again and you lay down again. But for your body to maintain blood pressure in your head while you're moving your head around like that is apparently a very difficult task for the heart. So that's one of the reasons why it's so great for cardiac fitness. And that's also one of the reasons why the military hopped on and went, hey, wait a minute, this looks pretty cool. What if we add a push up and then just make our recruits grind the shit out of these things? So they did, and they still use them to this day because of that very reason. Like it's one of the most complete cardiovascular fitness all over body exercises you can do. The only movement it doesn't incorporate is a pull. So if you toss some pull-ups in there, you literally don't have to do any other exercise. Like you will be fitter than 90% of the human population just by doing a bunch of burpees every day and tossing in some pull-ups. So awesome. Medical care, very good. Hey, yeah. Boom. Yeah. Face to face, doing like prison style. You do one, I'll do one. Yeah. Nice.
That's it.
That's bring facts. Good man. And then I
had that question, Johnny, about. So my thought was, okay, say I could live there just as a if I was a bachelor guy, I could just up and move there and figure it out and get my Spanish more polished up and be fine. I had random little thoughts about like, okay, if I needed, if I'm going to go to the dentist, or like who's the dentist? What is that dental like? I mean, I assume in San Salvador they do all the things, but it might be a little different to find that dentist, and basically you're going to probably just pay out of pocket for everything. So if you got issues, you're paying. I don't know what it means that way though, but there'd be details like that to like have to figure out. They must have it, but as far as along the coastline around there, it's not like you saw dentistry shops down there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the area we were in were the playas and the beaches. Like if you went to Santa Monica right now, you wouldn't see a lot of clinics. But what I gathered from asking the robot and asking some of the locals, like medical care is basically pay as you go. and it's very, very, very reasonable. Like if you end up hospitalized or something like that, they have, as far as I could understand things, which wasn't perfect, they have insurance schemes for like critical care, right? Like I got cancer, I've got to have an operation, so that's generally what the insurance is for, which kind of makes sense intuitively. It's kind of like the car insurance model, right? Like you don't insure your car for routine maintenance, right? You insure your car against catastrophic loss. And I think the medical insurance there, if I understand things correctly, works on that principle. They go, well, if you need a checkup, go down and pay for a checkup. But the checkup is like $10 or $15 or $20. If you need like x-rays or something like that, it's like $50. It's not like you're going to go down there and they go, well, it's $1,200. But we're going to bill your insurance, and the insurance is only going to pay 150, but you get this discount because of all these things. And it's not this random convoluted whatever disaster.
Razzle dazzle.
Yeah, there's no razzle dazzle. It's pretty straightforward. But the medical care is high quality. Like it's it's not, you're not going to get some guy who graduated top of his class from Johns Hopkins as a cardiologist or something like that. But you're going to get someone who likely got educated in a decent, like a comparable type medical school that you would find in the United States, and you're going to get a comparable level of care for the most part. But the thing is, the lifestyle factors alone make it a lot different down there, because like you're not eating the same kind of crap. The air is fresher, generally speaking, especially around the coast, obviously, but the food is better. It's cleaner. It's like, and there's a lot more like, because it's outdoors, it's sunny all the time. It's always warm. Like, I think the lifestyle is very different. And I think that leads to better health metrics in general. Like there's a certain
health.
yeah. Well, there's a certain like latitude where if you get above, and I think it's like kind of right around the middle of the country and up, you start seeing things like autoimmune diseases going way up, and especially things like multiple sclerosis and these like, those really like cerebral palsy and all that kind of stuff. Like that all goes up dramatically when you get out of the sun belt, So like if you ask people, what's that one? There's like a bunch of motor neuron diseases and things like that, like unheard of in El Salvador, unheard of in Guatemala, unheard of in Honduras. Like they might get one every 10 years. Those conditions are very prevalent if you go to England or Canada, right? Like they happen all the time. And it's, and they don't know the exact mechanisms, but sun exposure is huge, right? Yeah, it's kind of like Mexico. It's similar anyway, but the care is decent. Like, like I don't think they're quite to the medical tourism type level of stuff, but I would feel very comfortable going to a doctor in El Salvador. Like it's not like you're going to go to a barber shop and the guy goes, yeah, I can do medical care too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's going to be a legit clinic with legit sterilization practices and legit prescriptions and stuff like that. So yeah.
And on the insurance idea, like I was talking to an expat guy I met down there, and he was like, driving, you're not obligated to have any kind of vehicle insurance. And so most all the drivers don't have any kind of insurance. And so if you get in a wreck or a whatever fender bender thing, it's not like somebody's fault. Is the person kind of like, well, we got what we got here together. They're going to do them. You're going to do you. You might have insurance for you for repair. You can get insurance for yourself, but no one's going after each other for that kind of thing. It's just like, well, that sucks. He just said it's a decision you make for yourself whether to take basically just personal insurance, because you're not going to, like the other person that say they hit you and it's their fault. They're not going to be probably paying for it unless you personally or something. But
Yeah.
what are you going to get? I don't know, but just different that way. People are kind of like, you lump it, you take personal responsibility for it, you fix it yourself for yourself. So that was different.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of cultural and structural differences, but for the most part, like it's a developing country. It's a middle income country. And it's getting better, overall. Like the road conditions in the rural areas, not great. If you go live in the actual neighborhoods in the rural areas, like those roads can just be like gone, like there's still dirt roads and there's still like cobblestones and all sorts of stuff that are very difficult, if not completely impassable in certain conditions. but around the cities and stuff like that, for the most part, it's pretty stable. Electricity, the electrical grid is a little hit or miss. Yeah, the haircut cardiologist. Yeah, I mean, it's not frontier medicine. You know what I'm saying? It's not, like, here, bite down on this stick and drink this shot of whiskey, and we're gonna pull this thing out of you. Like, they're modern medical facilities or whatever. But overall, like, I would live there in a second. Like, I thought it was a beautiful country with really beautiful people, and and I think a lot of opportunity for doing stuff. I don't know what the internal bureaucracy actually looks like if you're trying to do something down there. I mean, we might find out because we're talking about moving the company down there. So, but I think for a foreign company investing into the country, I think it's easier potentially than it is for like a local trying to set up
A lot of
una
incentive.
empresa. Yeah. So there's a lot of incentives for foreign investment.
Yeah. So to move a company down there, it's like no no taxes for 15 years. No property taxes. Just no property taxes, and no capital gains taxes, um, and a lot of interest and incentives to get business in and going in El Salvador. So biggest thing for someone if they're doing like imports and exports is having that situated or having a connection to do that. But I
Yeah, one
mean,
of the nice things about El Salvador is they have a free trade agreement with the United States. Like, if we produce microseeds in El Salvador, we can import them into the United States duty free, which is huge. There's a massive port in San Salvador that goes right to the ports in Texas. It takes like seconds to get across the ocean. And that's part of the reason we're sort of looking at it, because the manufacturing base, like doing light machine work and things like that, that we need, uh, are huge, right? And yeah, that tax policy, the incentive tax policy for foreign investment is massive. Like 15 years of no taxes, it's a big deal, right?
yeah,
And the ability to trade freely and import things in the United States without any burdens, and just it all becomes very straightforward. And so from our perspective, it's like something where we could like legitimately go down and create viable good jobs in El Salvador. These wouldn't just be like, go wait tables or go work in fast food. It's like learn an actual machining skill. It'd be skilled labor and light assembly work, which is sort of unskilled. Uh, but then we could have all this stuff packed up and shipped to the United States, and it would actually be better than what we're doing right now, which is like kind of offshoring to things like Turkey and Eastern Europe and Asia. So there's a lot of discussion to still be had. I think there's probably more complex things than what we know just from our 1 week in El Salvador. But at least initially and at first blush, it's like, yeah, this looks like a pretty decent place to be and especially with the Bitcoin connection. And it's a country that is you know, at least ostensibly has embraced Bitcoin in a bigger way than most countries have. Like, it kind of, I don't know, it makes some sense. You know what I mean?
yeah, they're not going to throw up barriers or oh, there's a different president now and things get shut down or rug pulled on things. It feels like for the foreseeable future, the road is paved, and the biggest thing will be all the little logistical things. If you
Yeah.
need labor, there's just ready and willing and interested labor. And that's not to say, oh yeah, you can undercut on labor. It's more like you could pay them a decent wage for them, like a very respectful wage, and it's incredibly inexpensive for what you're used to in America, probably. So
Yeah. 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 So it's just a different business climate, right? Like, here, it's a very developed business climate. There's a lot of worker protections. There's a lot of insurance requirements and social safety networks and all that kind of stuff that all cost money, right? But there's also a lot of duties and taxes and things that make doing business in the United States more difficult, generally speaking, especially for a small startup like us. Like, if you're a multinational and you got whole teams of people who can deal with this shit, like, it's just like anywhere else, right? But El Salvador feels like a place where you don't have to throw as much money at problems. Like, it feels like somewhere where you can kind of get set up and kind of get rolling and kind of deal with problems as they come up. Just like I think a business should be, right? Like, there don't seem like there's going to be a lot of gotchas, but we're going to be talking to an attorney probably this week or next, and just going to see what that might actually look like. And if it works, then we'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Fiat America's got it's pro crypto and shitcoinery, and
Yeah.
what does that all mean? And pervasively in El Salvador, there was an awareness. If there was any Bitcoin awareness, there was also an awareness of shitcoinery, differentiated. So
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that stable coins weren't more popular down there. Like, I know throughout Africa, stable coins are big, right? Like, and I think in parts of South America, stable coins are a big deal because they're very, very convenient ways to get your hands on dollars, right? But people are really, really fond of having dollars. And especially if you have a volatile home currency, dollars are the thing. And so I think part of the reason Salvador isn't as stablecoin friendly is because they are on a dollar standard already. Like, you just pull your Andrew Jackson out of your wallet and you can pay it anywhere in the country, and everyone's more than happy to take it. So the need for a stable coin there is kind of effectively zero. But if you're somewhere like Argentina and you're trying to save money in your bolivar, like, one of the best things you can do is get yourself an account where you can get some stable coins and kind of sock it away that way. But again, the trouble for most folks is, like, Bitcoin is just too volatile for short-term savings, and most of these people are living on a short-term, like, on very high time preference because they don't have a choice. So it's not until you have a lot of disposable income that you can start thinking about, like, long-term savings and things like that, which is where I think Bitcoin really shines, because it protects you from, like, long-term debasement, not short-term volatility, right? So if you want to spend in the short term, like, dollars make a lot of sense, but you certainly don't want to hold dollars in a bank account for 20 years, but Bitcoin makes a lot of sense to do that with. So that's kind of the difference. It's just getting people to kind of think in terms like that, I think, is kind of a stretch. If you're kind of close to the survival threshold at all times, it's harder to say, hey, this is how you invest in a future that's going to be better.
Yeah. A number of people down there are very well, not that they're day to day, but very, very realistically, kind of month to month in their living situation, like Americans are. But
yeah,
the volatility is noticeable to them. If they're going to use Bitcoin, they would be aware of that. Just that volatility is an insecurity factor in a way. Suppose. Interestingly, talking about food, so, like, the quality of the food that you have access to, very very good and very fresh and just authentic and good tasting. And as things are developing up, like, they're doing all this construction, building an infrastructure, new roads, and working on roads and things and everywhere, in all ways. And then, like, new sort of like shopping complex areas where there's, in an area near the coast, where they're building up some new set of shops and restaurants and the things. And so it was kind of surreal to be like, oh, there's a Wendy's and a KFC or a Pizza Hut. And it was like, that's kind of weird. It feels fiat to an American, where it's like, oh, that's like kind of the cheap, like, meh food.
Yeah.
And talking to, like, the drivers we'd be with, or other locals, would be like, oh, that's good. That's good food. They like that food. It tastes good. Now, I didn't eat it to know better. Like, if the Wendy's burger really is, like, just a better quality version of food, it may very well be. But for us, it's like that cheap choice, fast food. And for them, it was more expensive. Like, we'd look at it and be like, oh, $3 for a burger, that's
pretty good deal.
Great.
Yeah.
And for them, it's like, if you're going to pay $3 for a burger or a meal, that was like more than you'd normally kind of want to pay. It was like the family's going to go out to eat for, like, a more special occasion.
Yeah.
And the eating out experience for them would be like fine dining at Wendy's.
Yeah. Like,
so different.
Yeah, it's definitely a different sort of level of thing. But there was something that I took away from that whole thing, was, like, the standardization of it was appealing, right? Like, when they could walk into a Super Selecto or Super Selectivo or whatever their grocery store was there, like, there was a standardization to the market's experience, right? They just could go in and get a reliable source of calories, and they could focus on things that they liked. And the same thing with the restaurant experience. There was a GNC vitamin shop down there, which kind of blew my brains out. But I was like, who's buying fucking vitamins down here? I think it's probably an expat store, is my guess, but I don't know. But what I can say is, like, if you're consuming local fare, like every morning at the hotel, I'd get the El Local, which is plantains, locally sourced, frijoles, which are beans, locally sourced, fresh eggs, locally sourced, and bread, right? And then like an espresso or a little coffee or whatever, and fresh fruit. Like I get a little fruit plate, and they make this little fruit juice, but it was all locally grown, locally sourced, and
Just the
relatively
orange
inexpensive.
juice. It's like I think at one point I thought I ordered something else, some Hugo Day, whatever else,
Yeah,
and I got an orange juice. I'm like, oh well, I didn't really want orange juice, and my American orange juice brain is like sugar and just like I got to water it down.
right.
This was just fresh squeezed. It was like
Juice.
orange
Yeah,
juice.
yeah,
It
oh,
was
yeah,
so much better. It's like, oh, okay, I'll drink this orange juice.
yeah. Well, it's funny. Like when I was in Prague last time, and I think Fritz is going to be joining us in Prague this year. I went to a McDonald's because I was coming back from I can't remember where we were. Like all I remember is I bought Wagyu beef with uh God, what's it? I don't know why his name is escaping me. The Robert Breedlove's partner.
Stacks.
Stacks. God, dude, why could I not
Eric B.
remember?
Stacks. Yeah.
Eric Stacks. So me and Eric Stacks and a bunch of other Bitcoiners went to this dinner. Like Justin Beckler was there and a bunch of really cool guys. But I ordered a Wagyu steak, and it was like, the size of a postage stamp. So when I was walking back to the hotel, I was like, I'm still hungry. I want to eat some food. But that Wagyu steak cost me like $80 or something. But anyway, so I popped in the McDonald's and I got a quarter pounder, and I took it back to the hotel. And I took, like, the second I pulled it out of the package, I'm like, what is happening here? Like, this thing looks like it weighs a quarter of a pound. Like, it's a big, fat, juicy burger on some like really fresh sort of seeming bread, and the ketchup looks like normal, and these are actual pickle slices. Like, what's happening here? I don't get it. And then I took a bite out, and I was like, oh my God, this thing is really freaking good, dude. Like, and people pointed out and have pointed out, like, most of the stuff that goes in American fast food is banned globally, except for,
So good it's banned.
yeah, but they're all what do they call those things? They're things that trigger hormonal responses in human beings for the purpose of addiction, right? Like
Yeah.
these are, yeah. Oh yeah, he was great. I found Eric Stacks because he was I was scrolling along, and Robin Sayer had him on an interview, and there was some dude standing there in front of this cannabis patch, and I was just like, I don't need to hear this. I don't give a shit about some pot grower, like whatever he has to say. But some weird random thing kept me watching. That guy is brilliant, man. Like, he's got some really, really great takes on things. He has a really good grasp of Bitcoin, where it stands in the world and why it's important. And I was sort of mesmerized by the guy's like little spiel on Robin Sayer, and he was on a few more podcasts since then. And now obviously he's working with Breedlove. So I guess the rest of the world also recognized that he's got something important to say, and he's a valuable contributor to the space. But yeah, it was one of those, like, I almost scrolled by just because he was standing in front of pot plants. Not that I got anything against someone smoking pot or whatever, but it's not like my go-to thing. Like, I'm not, like, yeah, like pot solves everything, right? But nevertheless, I think the experience for like a Wendy's or whatever would be similar to my experience in Prague. Like, I stopped at an ATM on the way back from the golf course, and I kind of toyed with the idea of going and getting a Wendy's burger, but I was like,
We probably just should have, because I think we were all kind of variously hungry, but yeah, maybe just to compare would have been cool.
yeah, just to see. But I have a sneaking suspicion that I would have got like a Wendy's single, and I would have went, wow, this thing is like really fresh, really good, really delicious. And the fries would have been fresh, and it just wouldn't have been laced with all the plastics and chemicals and all the shit that goes into like an American Wendy's burger.
Yeah.
Because I think that same stuff is banned in El Salvador. Yeah, exactly. He's spot on. You got that 100% right.
Yeah,
So
he's smart.
yeah, but Fritz will have an opportunity this year in Prague to try a McDonald's cheeseburger and see what he thinks. But it's a very different experience. It's definitely better than American McDonald's by a mile. And the thing was, when I finished my McDonald's food, I was full. Like, I was very satisfied after that meal. If I go to McDonald's today, right now, the second I finish eating, I feel like eating more. I'm just like, I kind of and because of all those adaptogens that they put into the food to make you more likely to consume more food, like
Yeah, food
the way,
chemistry, like
yeah,
lower on the nutrients, so your body keeps telling you you're hungry, and yet your taste buds are stimulated. And you're just like, this tastes good, and then maybe you have counter effects, but whatever, and then you're not satiated.
right, yeah, by
Versus like
design,
the Royale with cheese,
yeah, is actually a satisfying meal.
a
I mean,
satisfying, like, okay, it's a Wendy's or a McDonald's burger, but it's like sourced differently. Like the
yeah,
business is, if the business is going to survive in this country where the people expect food, they make food.
right, yeah, and they sell food. They don't sell adaptogens, and they don't sell an engineered product. They just sell like a cooked product. I don't know. I really enjoyed my time in El Salvador. I can't wait to go back. I'm looking forward to spending more time in the country, and we may be headquartered or manufacturing there or something there relatively soon. So
Yeah, we'll see. I
according to Fritz, we're moving next month.
Hey, why not? Yeah, yeah. So here, funny story about the news, and I didn't know what news it was. Apparently, it's the news. If you go to elsalvador.com, that's their news. And so they I was talking with Max Saylor, and they were interviewing Max Saylor. I'm sorry,
Kaiser.
Max Kaiser.
Yeah,
Switching my metaphors here. They were interviewing Max Kaiser, and Max Kaiser was going through the sponsors and all this stuff, and he got to MicroSeed. He goes, "MicroSeed, what's MicroSeed? Where's MicroSeed?" And he was like, he didn't know what MicroSeed was, and I was standing right there, and I just walked up and said, "Hey," I had my shirt. I said, "MicroSeed self custody, real quick. That's what it is." And he's like, "Oh, okay, thanks, MicroSeed. Bye." So then, after, it's kind of funny, random. Like Kaiser doesn't know what MicroSeed is, and what does he care? I don't know
right.
if he self custodies or how he does that, whatever. But hey, they sponsored the golf tournament. So then the news guys, after they were done with Max, they came over to me and said, "Hey, tell us about MicroSeed. What's MicroSeed?" Um, and so I told them, like, "Hey, can we interview you? You got this business and your Bitcoin, and you sponsored this thing." Yeah. So we went off to the side, and I had a MicroSeed. So we did this little video spiel where it's, how the media is, but it was kind of funny because they start out with, "Tell us about MicroSeed," and then they're like, "You like El Salvador? Is El Salvador good for business? You think, as an American, El Salvador is like a good place to do business?" I'm like, and so every question is like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah." Like, would MicroSeed benefit or ever consider doing business in El Salvador? And it's like, yeah. And then so I was talking about basically all the benefits of business in El Salvador, which are many, and Bitcoin country and all these things. And like, would Microsoft or MicroSeed consider El Salvador as a business operation? I'm like, yes, I think. I mean, we hadn't talked about it, you and I, but yes, like it's very attractive. I mean, we're been thinking about what this could look like for us. And then the headline comes out, and I'm going. So when I first saw it in my rudimentary Spanish, being what it is, MicroSeed is exploring initial operations in El Salvador, and I was going, how official is this?
Yeah,
I mean, possibly, yes. Well, I'm not going to disagree with that. It's just the headline was like micro. You could glance at that and say, like, I sent it. I think I sent a proud little article moment to my mom or something, and she's like, "Are you moving to El Salvador?" And I'm like, um,
no,
no, but
but maybe.
well, maybe.
Yeah,
But like, shit, what is? Anyway, but yes, the headline was a very good one. It looks like we got some time to sort things out, but it is good for business. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was definitely an experience worth having. I'd recommend a visit. From the United States, it's pretty mellow. Like if you fly through LA, you give yourself a long flight. If you fly through Houston, it's a 3-hour flight. So like you can get to El Salvador. I could get to El Salvador in the same amount of time it takes me to get to New York. So it's certainly certainly worth a visit. And
Yeah.
it's a pretty neat place. If you get down to El Zonte or El Tunco, which is sort of more like a tourist hiker. I mean, it's a party town, but El Zonte is very, very mellow, very, very quiet, and just beautiful. I mean, just absolutely stunning beaches. The weather was amazing. Hotels are very, very modern, all modern amenities. It was,
Healthy surfer people
yeah, healthy surfer
of
people
all
everywhere.
kinds.
Yeah, so, and just beautiful people kind of walking around, and
Yeah.
it's a resort, like it's a resort type environment, but in the city it's more like a city. But my golf partner stayed in San Salvador for the first like 4 days or something. He said it's a surprisingly quiet city, like it's not like a big like nightlife party town kind of thing. He's also in kind of like a business oriented hotel, but for the most part, he said wandering around the city, pretty clean, pretty quiet, and pretty chill. Like it was just sort of like a very different metropolitan vibe. And it's a big city. I mean, it's 2 or 3 million people live in San Salvador, so it's probably got its own city issues. Traffic apparently is kind of a bear there, but that's city life, right? So I don't know, man. Like if anyone's watching, go check out El Salvador. It's a beautiful country.
Yeah. Tickets, at least for me, like coming from Oregon, it was affordable if you're willing to plan it out and time it right. And it's not like a big expensive type of a trip. And then staying on the coast is kind of where it's really nice for that vacation experience. And it was quiet. Like it was mellow, cool, quiet, chill. The locals are just, oh, very kind, humble, generous, gracious, healthy,
Yeah,
um, beautiful people.
yeah,
I mean, on par.
yeah. It was
I like
outstanding.
the vibe itself. When you go to Mexico, like I don't have anything against Mexico at all. I appreciated, any locales I went to visit around there, in the resort, outside the resort, wherever. But there's this hustle going on. Like they know you're a tourist, they know you're a gringo, and their operation, their economic tourism angle is kind of
Geared towards that.
pushy,
Yeah,
or you just want to buy something and it turns into this bartering thing, and you're like, I don't want to be shopping hustle time.
right.
And down there, it was just kind of like it is what it is.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it was mellow,
yeah,
straightforward.
yeah,
No,
definitely.
they're not playing games. It was just we're
Yeah,
just living. So
yeah, welcome. Yeah. The airport I found on the way in pretty easy. On the way out, very different vibe. And they were not friendly to English speakers at all. Like I was grateful for the Spanish I spoke. There's 2 security checkpoints for me. I don't know if you had to go through
I had
two.
to go through two.
Yeah, which was sort of weird because I put all my shit back together and then I was like, wait, I got
Yeah,
to do this again? Like, what the fuck?
yeah, me
Um,
too.
but yeah, apparently I need to apply for a redress number according to the robot because like every time I come back to the country, I get an explosives check. Like again, like what is happening here? So I asked the robot. I said, "Hey man, like every time I come back to the country, I get an explosives check." I was like, "Oh yeah, you're probably on a list." I'm like, "Why? Like, what fucking list?" He's like, "Oh, you just got to write TSA Gov and just say, hey, this is my experience. This is what's happening. I'm a known traveler. Every time I come back, I get flagged for additional screening." And apparently they'll just look into it. And then he said it's probably like a name, like common names. This happens to very common names very commonly. And my name, I think, is common enough that, I could get associated with something or whatever. I don't know. But
Mr. White.
yeah, Mr. White, you need to step over here, please. Are you Walter? Any relation to Walter? I'm like, no. Well, we need to swab you for explosives anyway. I mean, it's
Right.
not a big deal. Like they just run a little, patch over your bag and, over your hands and stuff like that just to make, I don't know what. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
Getting into El Salvador was smooth and easy, and like, okay, I've got TSA pre or whatever, so I've got my KTN number, and it's like nice and easy, no hassle at all. Period.
yeah,
Just all the way in, all the way to the hotel,
yeah,
easy. On the way back, a little more of a hustle. 2 security checkpoints. They scanned my. I had microseeds in my bag,
yeah,
and they scanned them twice and wanted to look at them, and then they're like, okay. And then getting into when I got to Houston, they opened it up and we're like, oh, I don't think you can take drill bits on the plane. I'm like, they're not drill bits, they're punches. And he's like, oh, let me get my supervisor. And they looked at it. Oh yeah, you're fine. And the whole vibe there was no TSA, didn't mean anything. Getting back in, oh
right,
no, I got a number. I'm cleared. I'm cool.
Yeah.
No, it was sort of like, were you there on business? Did you bring so much cash back or in or out, or what were you doing?
Yeah.
It was more of a check.
Right.
And it was all fine. It was just like, oh, getting back to the States was a little bit more of a,
Yeah.
yes, I'm good.
Yeah.
But
Well, like I just remember the customs people or the security people in El Salvador, like zero English. Like there's a lot of orders being barked very quickly, like do this, do that, do this, take it. And I was just like, I think I know what's happening here, but like, okay, is it the laptop's in or out? It goes out, and that kind of stuff. But I'm trying to like sort through like what they meant about what, but it was a lot more hustle bustle and a lot less friendly to tourists on the way out.
yeah.
But overall great experience. I mean, definitely worth a trip.
Yeah. What I imagine is like me alone, I could move there. I could live there. I'd figure it out. And I know some Spanish, but that would just naturally improve with just slight effort and use. I could live there and figure all the details out. Now, to move family, if you have a wife and kids and all that, that's a negotiation that, like, not financial advice or relationship advice, but my wife was more overtly like,
Nope.
no.
Not doing that.
Like you describe, you describe um, some toilets, if you will. You don't flush the toilet paper; you put the paper aside, and that's just what you do. And at first, I was like, "Oh, okay, I can figure that out. That's fine. It's just a different habit."
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt funny, but whatever. It is what it is. And my wife's like, "No."
Not doing that, buddy. Yeah.
Certain little details, like, well, what about our favorite brand of whipping cream for our coffee that now, like, dairy tastes different? Just dairy categorically, like the cheese or the milk or the cream just isn't the same, and you can't put your finger on it, but maybe you don't like it. And for me, I'd be like, I don't care.
Yeah.
For my wife, it's like, I just don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, sorry, you gonna be okay?
Yeah. You'll adapt. Don't worry. Yeah. Well, anyway, I think it's been a pretty good little run here. We're a little. You're very welcome, Johnny. It's always great to see you, sir. Thanks for joining us again.
Good questions.
Yeah.
So much. I mean, like, hard to describe all the things, but so much and so much good and different for an American traveling. It's like you're going to see little things that, like, oh, okay, some things are janky, but what do you expect? I mean, it's quite manageable. Love it. Yeah.
It's like a whole different country.
Sure. A whole different country.
Yeah.
It's like leaving the States. So yeah, no, it's cool. Wow. Well, let me play a quick little fun thing, and then
yeah, and we'll call it a day.
We'll call it a day.
MicroSeed is the best way to take self-custody. One single MicroSeed kit allows you to stamp as many seed phrases as you want. MicroSeed comes with stainless steel washers, a titanium washer, and even a nylon washer. And you can fit all 12 or 24 words on one single washer. With promo code FRITZ, you'll get 5% off your order. Get the kit and crank out all the keys you'll ever need forever.
All right. That's a wrap. We covered all the important details for traveling down there, I think.
Yeah.
And we'll think of more after we get off.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so much to say. It was cool. Fun time. Glad we went. And not like immediately like, oh, here's why we went for business. It was longer term, adjacent, asymmetric ideas of like, oh, we just didn't know things that we'd have to just witness. And so for broader perspective shifting changes and thoughts there, it was good, important to have seen it and thought about it and been there. Like, it just,
Absolutely.
you have to be there to kind of feel that and hear stuff, know stuff, be like, oh, okay, yeah, could do that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, all right. Well,
we wrapped.
I think we can wrap it.
All
Until
right.
next time. Thanks for
All right,
joining, everybody.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah. Bye.